All right, live from Studio 6B, Thursday, May 29th, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice, all the coast to crunchy on your TVs. Across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio, Long Island, New York. Glad you're in, everybody, on a Thursday. Slick Rick's here. He's going to do some sports. Rick Delgado's got the news. Vinnie Mac's here. He's got some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down on the big board as always. I want to welcome all the new 8 p.m. viewers over from MSLSD since you have nothing to watch at 8 p.m. anymore. So welcome on in. I'm glad you're here.
Welcome.
A little bit of a change from Circleback Saki, who just got basically fired silently, quietly.
Oh, really?
She's gone out of the primetime spot. So I want to welcome all the new viewers over from there to here, probably. That sounds about right, Delgado?
That sounds good.
Where else are they going to go?
I don't know.
Right?
There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. So maybe they'll find their way over here. So welcome on in. Lots to do on a Thursday night. We got sports. Big Knicks game tonight. Slicksters.
Big game.
Win or go golfing.
That's it. Win or go home. That's what it is for the Knicks.
I don't know if they're golfers.
In the Garden.
Well, they're already home, so.
I don't know. Big D just laid some big wood on the, I won't say.
Well, I'm on the Pacers plus 4.5.
All right, you said it, not me.
Oh. Yeah, I'm on the Pacers tonight, plus 4.5.
That guarantees
and
a Knick
here's how I
win.
look at it. I win either way.
Right. Because if the Knicks win.
I've hedged my excitement for either winning a couple shekels or the Knicks move on.
Right. Which
and now we're at Game 5, and then things start to get interesting.
Oh, we're in Game 5.
This is game
Game 6.
Game
we
6.
head into Game 6, which will be on the road, and then
3-2,
then it falls back on Indiana.
Exactly.
For fear of a Game 7.
Then I'll be on the Knicks in that game as well.
But our very own Vin Buda doesn't think the Knicks could win a Game 7, so we don't know about that either.
I agree with everything you said, but I don't think the Knicks come back in the Garden and win Game 7.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly
I want them to win, but I don't think they do.
That's a tough one.
All right,
Okay, so I'm going to put 5,000 lira on the Knicks to lose Game 7.
I'm a little leery about that.
Okay. All right, very good. So, Delgado, how are you?
I am good.
How was your day?
My day was...
it wasn't very good, I know.
No, my day was great.
Oh, it was?
Are you kidding me? Some of the news that's coming? Are you... you have a mental problem?
No,
Are you
not
not
at all.
paying attention to what's happening in the world of news?
Oh.
Damon, obviously not.
Shots fired across the bow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really fiery tonight,
Plus,
right out of the gate.
Ooh, plus,
I felt the sting over here.
plus, Thursday shirt day. Hello.
Oh, Thursday shirt night. Yeah.
So how could it be a better day than this? I get to match my doll with my shirt and talk about the information
that is truly a fashion statement.
You know what I like about that shirt?
Yeah.
It fits. 3 minutes past the hour.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I get a lot of texts saying, tell Delgado to either stop lifting so many weights or buy bigger shirts.
Yeah.
Nothing. We pump you up.
You know what?
As the Zen Master told me, are you lifting more weights or buying tighter shirts?
No,
Which one?
My shirts are all the same. They're smeared.
His shirts are tighter than Harry at a happy hour when his bar tab comes around. We know that story.
I didn't invoke Harry's name in that one.
All right, the Bill's here. Where'd Harry? Oh, Harry, where'd he go?
Harry's you hear peeling out in the parking lot. That car's pretty fast, Harry.
I had to run.
His arms shrink up like a T-Rex. It's like, I can't seem to find my wallet.
You know, I really just am sick of opening the news. And all I see when I look at the news, I see the words court, judge, judges, judge, court, judges, court. That's all I see. Judges, courts. That's all I see. And it's getting tiresome, man. It's just tiresome every day.
It's a yo-yo.
I mean, that's all you see. It's judges, panel, judges, courts, this, appeal, this, that. It never ends.
The judicial system's out of control in this country, and it has to be resolved. But it's judge, it's appeal, it's Supreme Court. And that seems to be the cycle we're on.
Appeals court reinstates Trump's tariffs.
Thank you.
The Federal Appeals Court has blocked the lower court order, at least for now, striking down President Trump's reciprocal tariffs at the request of the White House. The Federal Appeals Court blocked the lower court. The move follows a decision from a panel of the U.S. Court of International Trade this week. Had you ever heard of the U.S. Court of International Trade before yesterday, Vin?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. But harumph to them.
I don't even think the people that work at the International Trade Court had heard of the International Trade Court.
There's a building in D.C. that says International Trade
I think
Association.
it's actually located in New York.
It is.
It is.
There you go.
It is. By the way, can we talk about the run for mayor of New York? Have you seen the two candidates for this? I mean, if, you didn't think the city could get any worse. Holy Moses.
We're in trouble.
You've got a guy who stuffed old people into places where they were going to all die.
Yeah. Crazy.
And then you got some guy who literally wants to spend, I think, like $10 trillion on just the New York City on what he wants to do. This guy's like, and you might as well go live in Venezuela because it would be just about the same as living under. I mean, I don't know who.
There'll be an
guy
exodus.
Is so off the rails.
Mass exodus.
People will leave. There will be an exodus. Now, despite all the stuff that's gone on in New York, real estate still is held. Rent is up. People are having a good time. The city's somewhat a little more cleaned up right now. But
These
man, they get one of these yo-yos in.
These are the two best guys. I mean,
oh man, terrible.
I mean, how could these be the two? I mean, just crazy. But that's a separate side story. Back to the U.S. Court of International Trade.
Let's talk about them.
So at issue was the administration's use of the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act in claiming authority to impose tariffs. The panel found that Trump's tariffs had exceeded his authority. Well, according to these judges, it's Trump versus 677 judges. They seem everything exceeds his power, it seems to them. Everything. There's not one thing. And the other story today out of that one, we'll see what happens there. Judge blocks Trump from stopping Harvard international admissions. Now think about this. You have a Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. You have the President of the United States. You have the executive branch. And you have the issuing of visas for students. China sends somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 a year, I think, to the United States to study. All of them are spies. All of them are spies.
And they pay full Monty.
That's part of the deal of them coming.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, you can spy. You just gotta pay full tuition price.
Yep.
So they get these U.S. visas, and here is the President of the United States and the Secretary of State saying, "Well, if we think that they're not here for all the right reasons, we're going to start revoking." And you have a judge who thinks that this is somehow in the purview of the court. Not the separation of powers. He thinks it's in his purview to say, well, no, you can't do that. How is it possible that the President of the United States and that branch of government doesn't have sole discretion over this with the Secretary of State? He 1 million trillion, let me give you a Biden number, trillion, billion, million % does oversee this. It has the authority to oversee this and has the authority to revoke these if they want to. But not according to U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs today. She blocked the Trump administration from revoking Harvard's ability to admit international students during an emergency hearing. Just think about that sentence. A judge is going to decide who we let into the country? Especially from places that we know are not friendly. We know they're spying. We know they're stealing IP. We know they're doing all kinds of things. But Judge Allison Burroughs today says, no. The president, screw separation of powers here. Screw the executive branch authority that he holds as the President of the United States. He doesn't have sole discretion over who comes in, him and the Secretary of State. No, I have a say in this. The move follows Harvard suing the administration last week in response to a message from the Department of Homeland Security revoking their student exchange visitor program certification. The judge says, this administration is holding Harvard this is actually Kristi Noem says, the administration is holding Harvard accountable for fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party on its campus, Kristi Noem said. It's a privilege, not a right, for these universities to enroll foreign students and benefit from their higher tuition payments to help pad their multi-billion-dollar endowments. The Harvard lawsuit indicated that international students amounted to more than 1/4 of the student body of roughly 6,800 students. Noem, however, has indicated that the school could retain its international admissions privileges if it provided data on the foreign students. Well, of course, they won't do that. But again, that's not the point. The point is, here's a judge thinking that somehow she's going to get involved and tell the president and the Secretary of State who they can issue and not issue visas to.
This is like the pure definition of tyranny. This is what's happened right now during this Trump derangement syndrome, which it seems the left has in spades, the judges have it in spades. And we do know the reality to it. You said this in your opening. The reality is they don't really have the jurisdiction here to do that. But it doesn't matter when you hate someone and a movement so much like these judges do. And I bet you when we look at their social media and we start seeing their other rulings and what they said during the campaigns and all that stuff, we're going to find every one of these judges, whether Bush appointed them or even Trump appointed them. And of course, most of them on the left, we're going to find there's a Trump derangement syndrome part of their ethos that is just going to stand in the way in everything he does. And you know, the DNC memo that went out to all these judges, 677 judges, was obstructive when you can. Because it's not by accident this stuff just happens so timely on everything. And then, you know, the good news, I think, for all this is the Trump administration, they're ready for this because the appeals come out almost immediately. Like they get it right out. Pam Bondi and team are right on it, and we get an appeal, or sometimes it goes right to the Supreme Court. But man, this is tyranny. That's what we're seeing. Tyranny.
Yeah, at the hands of the judges. And, you know, for everybody is like, well, you know, it was a Trump judge was part of this international trade. That is BS. It happens all the time. There are certain seats that if they don't get nominated by the president for someone or the person doesn't get approved, it kicks back to the, I believe the governor gets to choose the person that's there. And sure, the president just has to say, okay, you know, okays it, but it's not a Trump judge that he selected and said, I want this person in that seat. It's the person, they kind of looked at it like, seems harmless enough. I guess we can let this one go.
Yeah, you know, one of the point on this with the judges, and I think we've talked about this before. We were debating this, I remember, a couple of weeks ago, and that is this is chum for the left. Why is it chum for the left? Because Trump is so tempted to defy these judges. When I hear pushback to my crazy liberal friends who think I'm deranged, it's because, well, he's not going to, you know, follow the judge's orders. He's a dictator, he's fascist and all that. Look at all these orders. So no matter what happens here, Trump winds up being sort of in the firing line of this type of feedback, even though it's utter nonsense. It's why we need the Supreme Court and why I still maintain, forget these judges, ignore them. Ignore them. Appeal it, do whatever you need to do, but just ignore what they say. Keep going.
Right, until the Supreme Court steps in,
force them,
and fixes and fixes the problem. If they're not going to step in and do it, then hey, these lower courts, that they have no jurisdiction over the president and all the powers that he has. So
you meant to say
kick rocks.
You meant to say until Justice Alito and Justice Thomas tell you how to fix the problem, and then see if anybody wants to come with them. I think is probably a better way to describe
100%
what happens over there nowadays. All right, live from Studio 6B, just getting started. We'll do some more sports. Josh Hammer was on with Steve Bannon on this very topic. We'll play that when we get back. Then we'll do sports and news with everybody coming back live from Studio 6B on a Thursday. Glad you're in right after this.
No.
I'm going to call the game right now.
Usually you call it by now. Like, this one's over.
Oh, man.
Nah, come on.
Really? You?
Let's be legitimate.
I want to see a game 6. I'm psyched.
This is legitimate sports reporting here. Come on.
This is the real deal, right?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Just look at all the highlights I run
What'd you say?
every
It's
night.
illegitimate sports report?
Yeah, legitimate child.
Oh, man. So true. I got a Dear John letter today from a close friend of mine.
Yeah.
It seems to happen every week. Like someone comes out of the woodwork.
Can he be that good a friend if he calls you John?
That's true.
Thank you.
Doesn't even know your name.
You. We call it a Dear Jim letter because this particular friend writes off friends, it seems. But yeah, another distressing day on that front. I don't understand it. And by the way, he watches this show.
just so
he watches the show just to get angry.
Just to get angry?
Oh, really?
Because if he's watching now?
Oh, God. Don't
Charlie, you out there? If you're watching.
Does he watch on socials or does he watch on like the network?
I don't know.
I should ask him. Text him right now. Charlie.
Watches on the socials, probably.
Give me his number. I'll text him.
He's on the YouTubes.
It's right out of that Howard Stern thing, though. It's like he wants to know what we're going to say next.
Right.
Yeah.
So he can get angry at it.
So gets angrier and angry. Oh, you? By the way, he singled you out. By the way.
Did he?
Oh,
awesome.
big time.
I
Big
love
time.
Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
No, he just said he was very attracted
Charlie,
to you
I'm
with those
with you.
guns.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh, he's the delegate's like Delgado, you, Damon, and Rick, you guys.
Hey, what me?
Hey, Damon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Damon's like a ray of sunshine.
He's a liberal.
What are you talking
Big,
about?
big. He
I'm like
thinks
the liberal of the show. Everybody
Right.
tells me.
he basically took this position.
You are.
Here's the position.
He's our Jen P. Psaki.
We spew hate because we just go after the people on the left. And I'm like, have you watched MSNBC or CNN or any liberal talk about Trump? That's hate.
Yeah.
I said, we're just pointing out disagreements and things that we think are false.
pointing out stupidity.
And all that. We're not being hateful. We don't hate anybody.
And not only that,
We
mock
dislike.
them.
That's not necessarily
We what?
true.
We mock them
We mock.
because that's all you can do to these
We
people.
mock.
is
We're
mock them.
mocking.
Mockingbirds.
Yeah.
That's the best way to counter
Operation
their
mocking.
stupidity is mock them with it.
Yeah, mocking. No, we are mocking. And I
There's
tried to make
three.
that point to him. Like, we're not, we don't hate. We disagree.
Look at that, D. He cut it to two, just like that.
Susan says on YouTube, Damien needs to get with the program. Well, first of all, it's Damon.
Okay.
Damien,
There's no I,
Rosemary's
and there's
Baby?
no E.
Yeah. He has 666.
Trump knows what he's doing. Okay, what are we talking about specifically that you're referring to?
Well, just in general.
Just let me know. Ba-ba-da-da. 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Well, everybody's here.
Yep.
Aaron and Fran is here. Everybody's here. Knicks are playing. We'll get to sports here in a
Yeah.
second, but just sticking with the judges. Sticking with the judge. Here comes the judge. We'll stick with the judges just for a second.
Yeah.
Our friend Josh Hammer, friend of the show, real friend of the show, was on with our other friend of the show, Steve Bannon, today. And they were talking about exactly this. And here is Josh from today. He made some excellent points. Here he is. He's always excellent. Here he is.
Well, the International Court of Trade dramatically oversteps, Steve, and the U.S. Federal Circuit has put a pause on it. It's just a procedural pause. They're going to let both sides file their legal arguments, let it play out here. We're dealing here with a 1977 Jimmy Carter era statute known as the International Emergency or Economic Emergency Powers Act. Now, the real question in this litigation, again, what happened today is all just procedural stuff. The Federal Circuit basically saying, okay, you guys overstepped there. The actual question is really more one of who decides, because the relevant underlying statute says that when there is a foreign economic commercial emergency, then the President of the United States can do XYZ thing. So the question, Steve, really is, do the political branches get to decide what is an economic emergency, or do these unelected judges? Yeah, Steve, we are knee deep in a constitutional crisis, and we're knee deep in a constitutional crisis not because Donald Trump is a dictator, fascist, Nazi, Stalin, whatever they want to call him. No, I mean, we are in a constitutional crisis right now because Donald Trump is facing an unprecedented judicial insurrection, the likes of which no president in this country has faced since wartime President Abraham Lincoln himself, dealing with Roger Taney and chattel slavery and a genuine literal insurrection the likes of which we have never seen before. And there's ultimately only one way that this is going to end. This is kind of the craziest point to me, Steve. The craziest point to me is that the judiciary, including the International Court of Trade earlier today, which by the way, that's a partisan court, by the way. This is actually one of those Article 1 congressionally created courts deep in the bowels of the executive branch. It has partisan designations. You have to have certain Republican nominees, Democrat nominees. So the media was reporting that, a Trump appointee to the International Court of Trade was the one who struck down these tariffs. But yeah, it was technically a Trump nominee from the first term, but he was literally a Democrat because it is statutorily required that you have a certain partisan Republican Democrat mix on that court. So the media just disingenuous and dishonest as always. But we're in this crisis, and the judiciary, more generally speaking, whether it's these executive branch courts like the trade court or the bread and butter, the Article 3 federal courts, they have to know they're not going to win. They are not going to win this because they still are literally, as Hamilton told us in Federal 78, they literally are the least dangerous branch. And they have neither force nor will, but merely judgment. They literally depend, as Hamilton again said, on the efficacy of the executive branch, even for the enforcement of their own judgments. They do not have the tools in their checks and balances, in their separation of powers, in their toolkit to win this in the long term. The only question is, how long is it going to take for them to learn the message, and how much can Congress and President Trump, how much can the other two branches turn the screws to deliver the message there? So I've been all in, me, Mike Davis, all of us at Article 3 Project, we've been all in trying to get all tools on the table, whether it's judicial impeachment of bozos like Judge Boasberg in D.C., whether it's trying to jurisdiction strip legislation, whether it's trying to potentially abolish entire judgeships. There is a lot. There's a lot that Congress and the president can do to get the judiciary to understand the message there. But this judicial insurrection, Steve, has to stop because we are absolutely in a constitutional crisis, and is a crisis entirely of Article 3's own making.
There you go.
Well, it is a constitutional crisis, yes, but it's also something where they have no jurisdiction. So they could say, that's like you and I sitting around and just saying, oh, I'm going to proclaim that you can't do that. Because if I have no jurisdiction on anything, neither do you. And these judges don't either. So it is a constitutional crisis in a sense if we take them seriously, like they actually do have a say. But they don't have a say. So what's the crisis?
Right.
Just ignore them.
And what happens is then, if nothing happens, if nobody pushes back on whatever they're declaring or decreeing or whatever the mumbo-jumbo legal terms they try and use to say that this is now the policy, if you don't do anything about that and challenge it, if you just let it sit, later on down the road, they're going to cite that as, well, we have precedent now.
Yeah.
Which works against you in the courts.
Yes, you do have to fight it.
Right.
I'm just saying that from a constitutional standpoint, they have no jurisdiction. There's not a constitutional protection for them. They're actually not fully protected by this. They're federal judges with small little areas that they have jurisdictions on, not the executive branch.
Right. And again, they were only established so everything doesn't end up at the Supreme Court.
Right. As a buffer to do that.
Right.
All right, 22 past the hour. Live from Studio 6B, let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS 6B is the promo code to use at MyPillow. Slick's got it. What's going on, Slickster?
Right, big day. Well, big game in the Garden tonight. Game 5. Right now, the Knicks trail the series 3-1, looking to make it 3-2. It's win or go home, like we said at the beginning of the show. They jumped out to an early 8-point lead. However, the Indiana has come back a little back and forth. Knicks do look like they're on their game tonight, Big D. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but Indiana could get hot. 4:31 to go. 20-13 in the first quarter. And again, Knicks with a must-win situation. So we shall see. The Knicks just hit a big three-pointer. They're up by 10 points with 4:23 to go. NHL action. Here we go. American Airlines Center. Another game where the Dallas Stars, who are hosting, must win tonight. They trail the series 3-1 to the Edmonton Oilers. Right now, no score, just underway, about a minute and a half into the game. So we'll keep track of the scores with that. And then Major League Baseball earlier today. Braves over the Phillies 4-0 at the end of 5. Blue Jays 11-0 over the A's. Woof, top of the fourth there. Top of the first, Rays blanking the Astros 1-0. Phillies down the Braves earlier today. 5-4. Mariners taking on the Nationals. That's a 9:40 first pitch. And the Memorial Tournament earlier today. First round play is complete at Muirfield Village Golf Resort in Dublin, Ohio. And, the first one, Ben Griffin shot a 7-under today. And Colin Morikawa, one of Damon's favorite golfers, shot a 5-under. So he's in second place.
Ben Griffin's today. He was right.
Hot.
Did he win last week, or he was right there last week? I think he came in second if he didn't win.
He didn't win it, but he was right there. Good.
He came in second. I think he was in the playoff, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he was.
He's shooting good, man. So
well.
We'll see what happens. Round 1, though, Big D. We know how that goes. We'll see what happens. Who's the big guy on Sunday? We'll see. Sad news in college football. Baylor defensive lineman dies after being shot multiple times. This is Orr Hawkins of Breitbart. Baylor defensive lineman Alex Foster was pronounced dead early Wednesday morning after being found inside a car with multiple gunshot wounds. Foster was 18 years old and from Greenville, Mississippi, when he was shot. ESPN reported that Foster redshirted at Baylor during the 2024 season. Police were called about a shooting at 12:11 a.m. and arrived to find Foster severely wounded inside a car. He was transported to a hospital and pronounced dead a short time later. So sad news there for the Baylor football team. Really, a young man like that, 18 years old. And last but not least, I don't know if you heard about this. Former Seton Hall pitcher details sexual hazing, blood injuries, and says coach failed to act. This is former pitcher describing brutal hazing rituals and accuses coach Rob Shepard of failing to stop toxic culture. This is Ryan Morick of Fox News. A lawsuit claims that a former Seton Hall pitcher was the subject of hazing by his teammates, including gross sexual acts. The former pitcher, whose name has not been publicly identified, said he was spitting blood everywhere during one incident, and the hazing dashed his dream of making the big leagues. The lawsuit claims that nude and violent wrestling, as well as masturbation ritual, are just some of the hazing incidents. So, pretty graphic story. Well, it's Fox News. I'm
Back that up.
That sounds like a good Saturday night. What are you talking about?
Back that bus up, I got a second.
Well, yeah. Well,
I thought we were the only ones that did the masturbation ritual here. I don't understand that hazing. What the hell's going on?
This show's going on.
Seton Hall stealing that?
Seton Hall, the pitcher, pitcher and the catcher.
God.
But anyway, the player in the lawsuit.
You sure you read that right?
He brought that from Pepperdine, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what those.
We were the Waves, so go figure it out.
Well, the suit claims the player's move to a Division III school cost him a season eligibility and diminishing his visibility and professional baseball. He had to leave the school, the kid. He was a promising prospect, and what can I tell you?
Terrible.
Yeah, so, well, that's it, Big D. That's what I got. That's what I got.
We might be back in 3 minutes. 26 past the hour.
That's a legitimate word on TV.
Of course it is.
I just got a text from a
Did you ever watch Dr. Ruth?
Hey,
It's all very natural.
but she lived.
She lived a long life.
All right, that's it for tonight.
All right, that's it for sports.
That's it for sports for the next 6 months.
Paul Nolan's going to fill in from his basement.
See, and normally you have to wait for another show for that to happen.
Yeah.
It's live from Studio 6B after hours. Yes, that'll be our next programming. Well, that was interesting. I think we'll move on from the hazing.
Yes.
Old guy in Texas, $5 super chat in the YouTube. Hey, Vin.
Yo.
In the 4-up display, you have a corner label, stud.
What?
I think he's got the wrong guy. But
Repeat that.
You have that.
I know.
Repeat
He
that.
said, hey, Vin. Oh, Vin does too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
that's one of my new sponsors, Stud
Other
for men.
side, pal.
Thank you.
YouTube, David Lacrosse, $9.99. Some good news, boys. In 8-0, the Supreme Court limits judges' authority to block infrastructure projects due to environmental concerns. So it's a small but significant win. David Lacrosse, $9.99. Thank you, sir.
We went from hazing to Stud. I'll take it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Hazing the Stud.
Speaking of hazing, what's your buddy's name again?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie.
Has he texted you yet?
He hasn't texted me yet, but if he's watching this, he's
You
probably
should text
furious I even mentioned his name. Now, I know Charlie since grammar school.
I don't
was his last
text
name
him right now.
I'm not going to share his last name.
Text him right now. Text him right now. Just ask him if
And
he's
I love the
watching.
guy. He's been a close friend of mine.
But ask him if he's watching it on what platform.
The only guy I know
just
that
so
can
we
go-
know if he's listening like right now, or we have to wait to say something about him.
Oh, he's
when
not
we're-
talking to Vin anymore. He blocked him.
I think we'll leave him alone. I just wanted to use him as an example, as another one bites the dust in the Vinnie Mac ecosystem of friends that are offended by standing up for common sense.
I think I blamed the Vinnie Mac part more than I blamed the Charlie part.
Vin,
Yeah,
do you
well,
know if the
picked
guy
all these
bank?
people
Did
to
he
start with.
bank at Chase? The guy?
I think he works at
Is he an
Chase.
executive
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
I Googled myself
he
to see
withdrew
something.
his friendship.
No, I Googled myself to see something, and all I see are clips from the Chase comments.
Oh, they're
And I'm
after
like,
you.
oh
I
boy.
heard. They're after you.
Wait till another bank looks me up and is like, who's this guy talking about Chase now?
You got to go to Old Glory now.
Old Glory.
That's where you got to
That's
go.
the way to go.
I'm looking at them too now.
I'm absolutely going to be
I think I'd be more comfortable
transferring
with those
everything
fellas.
into the Old Glory.
Yep.
I spoke to the CEO of Old Glory today.
You did?
Yeah?
He'll be coming on the show, I think,
Oh,
maybe Tuesday. We're trying to work it out.
yeah, we got to have a conversation.
Is that
Nice.
John Rich?
No.
Oh.
The CEO.
Hello to Pittsburgh.
This Friday, don't miss Trump's Golden Age rally in Pittsburgh.
We will make America strong again.
Witness the movement reshaping America. We're bringing you live, unfiltered coverage starting at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Make America great again. Thank you, Pittsburgh. God bless you.
Only on Real America's Voice.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night and across the airways of 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're in, everybody. Dr. Ruth will have more sports. Rick Delgado's going to have some news. Vinnie Mac's going to have some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Well, glad to see all of our friends, of course, as always, every single night. We so appreciate it in the chat and all of our social media. Make sure you follow us and hit the like, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you haven't, thumbs up at LFS6B pretty much everywhere. Instagram at LFS6B Show. Tomorrow night, we will be live back at the America First Warehouse for a Friday night show.
Can't wait.
And we certainly hope you can make it there some Friday here in the near future, coming down to the America First Warehouse. Number one, you got to just see the warehouse. Because it's just fantastic. You see Joe the Box and everybody there, and you come see us. Kevin Downey Jr., Paul Nolan, Vinnie Mac, Slick, Delgado, myself will all be there. We'll be back there tomorrow night, and we'll be there every Friday going forward. So if you can, make it to New York and come to Long Island and see the show, work it into a trip, or just if you're in the area, come on over. It's been great so far. What have we done, 3 or 4? I mean, they've all been great, man. Great people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
totally.
great people. So we got an invitation out to Charlie to come tomorrow night. We don't know if he's going to accept, but we'll see.
Oh, that would be great. Charlie, please come.
But right now,
Charlie.
let's do some news that Charlie won't probably like. And here with the news is Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by our friends over at EternalLifeCoin.com. EternalLifeCoin.com. You might like that if he checks that out. EternalLifeCoin.com. All one word. Great piece for anybody in your life, especially for a dad for Father's Day. Check it out, EternalLifeCoin.com. Delgado's got the news. What's going on?
All right. Well, I'm going to reclaim my time here, Damon, and designate this news, dedicating it to Vinny's friend Charlie. Charlie,
Thank
we
you.
hope you're watching.
Very good.
This news is for you. It's the best news in the world ever today, and we're giving
boy.
it to you.
I am going to hear it.
It has to do with one of Charlie's, probably one of the people he holds in high self-esteem. I'm talking about one former FBI director, James Comey.
Oh, yeah.
Of Shellgate. Well, turns out James Comey has been taking shots on TV recently, going after Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And I don't know if you caught what he had to say about former Secret Service agent, New York City police officer, and podcaster Dan Bongino, who's now the deputy director. But here he is.
Did Bongino do any TV today?
Yeah, I got that too. I'm going to share that with you, Damon. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't poke the bear.
I'm just wondering if he did any interviews.
Well,
he said anything.
He did, and Charlie's going to love this stuff.
It's coming.
So here's cut number 4. Here's James Comey taking some not so subtle shots at Dan Bongino. Here's cut number 4. Check this out.
Something supported by a lot of conservatives out there. What do you make of this?
It's a little confusing to me, honestly. I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go from being a podcaster to being the deputy director of the FBI.
There's the first one.
But I don't understand this tweet. First of all, I assume that the investigation of the pipe bomb that was found on January 6th was never closed. The FBI never closes such a thing. So I guess it means they're going to focus on it more. And as to the other things, I thought the Supreme Court marshal had investigated the leak of the opinion, the draft opinion. I don't know what the FBI's role is there. Cocaine at the White House, I thought the Secret Service investigated that. So I don't follow it and understand it. I also don't understand who the audience is for this tweet. The FBI often calls for public assistance or in matters of great public concern will announce an investigation to reassure the public. This seems much more narrowly targeted, maybe to a former podcast audience.
Ah, there it is. Of course,
He's just a bitter old
he really is just so he's nervous, he's bitter, and I think he's a little bit scared at this point. That's why he's taking aim at Bongino. Of course, Dan Bongino, it seems like they're doing you're going to go on TV and talk? So will we, and followed up by Dan Bongino doing this, coming after what they found during Comey's FBI tenure. Here, check this out. Here's cut number 5, where Bongino goes into it. Check this out.
Wait till you read the stuff that's coming out.
Does he still have loyalists in the building? Because when I hear the FBI director saying, you guys are finding boxes that are hidden, okay, how does that happen in the Bureau?
Well, we were there a couple of weeks, and luckily there were a lot of people up there who grabbed us by the arm the minute we came in and said, thank you for being here. You know, we need to talk. There are people there who are really horrified at what happened. And there was a room, and we found stuff, a lot of stuff.
A hidden room.
I wouldn't call it hidden, but hidden from us at least, and not mentioned to us. And then we found stuff in there, and a lot of it's from the Comey era, and we are working our damnedest right now to declassify. And just so you know, because I get the public, I totally understand people saying, well, do it now. The process is not all the information is ours to declassify. Some is other intelligence agencies. It's not. We literally can't do it. Once that gets done and that gets out there and you read some of the stuff we found that, by the way, was not processed through the normal procedure, digitizing it, putting in FBI records. We found it in bags hiding under Jim Comey's FBI. You're going to be stunned.
Yeah, so there it is. A little pushback on
That's
James
good news,
Comey.
huh?
That's great news.
Yeah.
And again, you know, he kind of codifies it by saying, you know, we can't just rush it out there. There's a process. I understand that. I'm frustrated with that process. I'm sure as people like Paul are, as well as many people out in the audience, but I get it. At least we're getting something that says, hey, hang tight, stay with us. We haven't given up on this stuff, and it's coming. So that's great news to hear from Dan Bongino. He also revealed during this interview that the Bureau will be releasing footage, which is the first time we're hearing about this.
I thought there was no footage.
I thought there was no footage. I thought the camera went out. I thought
what are you talking about?
Talking about video footage confirming that Jeffrey Epstein was the only one in that cell. Again, the footage will not show Epstein committing suicide, but will confirm where he was and that he was, quote unquote, the only person around there at that time, which is a little strange. But again, we were told very early on, oh, there's no video. It just kind of went out. Well, why did they tell that story? Obviously, it wasn't
told
the
you
truth.
by who, though?
Excuse me?
Told you who told you that?
The people doing the investigation. The Bill Barr led DOJ at the time.
Oh, so that was Comey.
That was Comey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There's no video.
Okay. And now you have Bongino and Patel there.
It wasn't Comey.
Ooh.
No,
was
that
it?
was
Ray.
Christopher Ray.
Yeah.
It was Ray.
Christopher Ray, yes.
Bongino,
Chris Christie's guy, yeah.
Right. Bongino also called Comey a disgrace and claimed he was profiting off his notoriety.
So which one do you think's lying?
The
original report or now this guy telling you there is? Which one's lying?
What do you mean? Which one is lying?
Which one you think is lied?
Which
Comey, Christopher Ray about there was none, or Bongino saying that they'll release one?
Well, if we see video, then it was Christopher Ray who seems to have lied. Why? We don't know. It would be nice to find out.
Do we have that clip?
Yes, we do, as a matter of fact. It's cut number 7. Here is Dan Bongino talking about the Epstein file. Again, he always mentions the file, and he references the file, not his own personal investigation or what they have found since, just the file. Check it out, cut number 7.
Here we go.
Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this.
The file.
I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. Right. There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. but there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So there you have it.
Oh, we got to,
Again, two
could
references.
be like a Jack Bauer deal. Maybe check the wall. Could be like a side compartment or.
Two references to reading just from the file, what the file says.
Sure.
Again, you're not allowed to lie to the FBI, but man, they can lie to you. I'm just saying.
We're pretty good at it.
Delgado would rather be scratching his eyeballs with tinfoil than having to report on this story.
No, I report on this story with glee, Damon. Why? Because I want to get to the bottom of it.
I know.
And I love the fact that he keeps saying, according to the file. The file.
Yeah.
You got to parse the words, my friend. Parsing words.
Okay.
Parsing words.
Okay, let me parse them.
Can you pass the parsing, please?
All right, what else, Delgado?
Finally, I don't know if you saw this. One of your favorites, Damon, Ed Martin was on with Glenn Beck.
Ooh, I like
Ed Martin.
Talking about the Biden auto pen scandal, the pardon scandal, and everything associated with that.
That's a big one.
Here he is talking about a cut number 9, where he discusses with Glenn, what they're going to be looking for and how they're going to proceed forward with this cut 9.
There's many, many laws that I would say apply to this. Someone brought up forgery. Forgery is the beginning of a conversation. I think fraud, there's all kinds of aspects of fraud that could be done if somebody's making money, big money off of it. There's many things. President Trump used in a Truth Social a post about treason. And I think as a member of DOJ, I'm going to, tread carefully towards what I would describe as the likely crime. But there's a lot. If this was an abuse, like people are worried, there's a lot of crimes that were committed, and will be.
If the facts show that it was happening, the DOJ will pursue aggressively justice.
The only way I know to do it is being aggressive, Glenn. You probably have seen this now. So, yes, we're going to get to the bottom of the facts. We're going to apply it to the law, and we're going to go like hell against the people that did this to the country. And, this is the biggest scandal I could ever imagine in our lives. There's never been anything like this at this point. And so I hope it's a lesser scandal than it looks like, but it's headed towards one of the most egregious things we've ever seen. So, yes, people will be held accountable, and yes, they will be held accountable by prosecutions.
Yeah, and if you remember last week during another appearance, Ed named the 3 gatekeepers he considers gatekeepers: Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, and Bob Bauer, as those 3 who are really dominant characters in the White House, who they're going to be looking at very harshly in terms of who could be responsible for this.
I have a question or comment on this auto pen thing. Most legal documents that go through Congress or any area of our government, most meaningful documents, people fly back in if they're out of town to sign these documents. Okay, they don't just say, okay, put my name on it.
Right.
They have to fly in because they have to physically sign them because they're important legal documents. The auto pen was created for nonsense, not for important legal documents. It's like the judges. This auto pen has no jurisdiction. Nor do the judges that we're talking about. It's the same issue.
All right, 43 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll come back, more news, sports with Slick. We'll get an update on that Knicks game. If you're here in New York, I know that's important to you. We'll get a score there. We'll wrap hour 1. Man, quick first hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday. We're back right after this.
Michael Jordy on the YouTube. Delgado is on point.
I know I'm on point.
He's always on point.
Damon thinks he's going to score one and get out of the sphere loss. He's never going to get out of that one.
Oh, please.
Think he can make it up with some Epstein nonsense.
What nonsense?
Nonsense.
Same nonsense.
I was thinking field day because I saw this clip.
Let me see. Let's put out some feelers into the audience now. What is when the video is released? What's Delgado's first three excuses besides it's AI, it's fake, Bongino and Patel had Harry edit it for them? What else is the excuse? What are they going to be?
If Harry edits it,
give me the
then
top three.
Everybody will know it's
It's
fake.
a Dave's situation like the movie. It's like a body double.
That's the disclaimer. Harry edited the video.
Yeah, Harry edited the video. Well, give me like the top three.
I don't know.
Give me top three in the chat, Delgado.
I have an important social media message that's come through here. Okay?
Is it from Charlie?
It's not from Charlie.
Damn it.
It's serious, though. It's an important one.
Charlie,
I'm not into serious right now. I'm into what Delgado's three excuses are when this video gets released. So I want the audience.
I would love
weigh
to see
in
the
here.
video.
Let's see.
Okay, let the audience.
Aliens took the original. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
John D. That's a good start. Aliens have taken the original. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good start.
Yeah.
I would refer
That's
to
a good
aliens for
one.
that, though.
That could be one.
Jesus Perez says Delgado slam dunk Damon in your face.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not a good one.
That's
Check,
a good
please.
one.
Yeah, little hazing going on here, folks.
Yeah, here we go.
Aliens changed it.
Perry C in the YouTubes.
The YouTubes.
You know what? This could be very interesting. Do you think Trump will pardon Paul Pelosi's boy toy?
Oh, hello, boy toy.
Ooh, Paul Pelosi's boy toy who went to jail.
Why would he do that?
Why not?
Well, the guy really did try to kill him.
Did he really?
Yeah, we have it on tape. We watched it 47 million times in every end of the
He did hit him with a hammer.
You sure it
What are you
wasn't
talking
Thursday night Naked Hammer Fight Club?
I also think he went to Seton Hall.
I think it was that too,
yes.
but I think it was attempted murder.
Hammer and Hank.
Let's see. Damon, Vinny's more important. Okay, David, thank you. You want to hear? Oh, I see what you mean. You want to hear Vinny's very. Okay, go, Vin, go ahead.
Okay,
we got 36 seconds. So Rob Jackson sent a note and said, as a loyal viewer of our show and a good friend of his in the hospital tonight, I think you would lift his spirits. He's watching. If you give him a shout out, and his name is Ricky Cope. So each of us.
I've seen Ricky Cope in the chat. Yeah,
letting Ricky know that we're looking out for you. We appreciate your friend Rob for giving us the tip here. I hope you're feeling well.
Feel better.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. We want to send our well wishes out to Ricky Cope.
Yep.
Member of the LFS 6B audience. And I hear somebody sent in a message to Vince and he's not feeling it. Did they say he's in the hospital?
He's in the hospital. I'm not sure what he is in the hospital for, but it's obviously something serious, and he's watching the show.
Okay, we send our prayers out to him, and I know the entire audience in the chat does as well. So know that we are with you, thinking about you, and hope that everything is getting better, or whatever the situation is, that you feel better, get better, and get back into the LFS 6B chat, which is really, all joking aside, just quite the family.
It's very entertaining.
Yeah. So,
and I have no medical training, Ricky, but if there is anything that I can do to help, I'm happy to come out that way. Perhaps perform some surgery, perhaps something else. I'm game. You don't think so?
Okay.
All right.
Well, no, yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do.
12 minutes till the hour. Let's get an update on the Knicks game. Maybe Ricky's interested in that. A lot of New Yorkers are, and I know a lot of people in Indiana are.
Yes.
Slickster, let's do your sports. It's sponsored by our friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the promo code to use if you want to shop at MyPillow, and we appreciate it. There's a lot of codes you can use. We appreciate it when you choose ours. We're going to run that promo in June. If you use our code in June leading up to Father's Day, anything you're buying for Father's Day, code LFS6B. We'll add in something from our store for Dad, and there's a lot of great stuff for Dad in our store. So, Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, with the star-studded courtside in the Garden tonight, the Knicks are the ones who are setting the pace, if you will.
Pat McAfee there?
Yeah, right. New York Knicks are up 43-34 with 5:51 to go in the second quarter. I got to tell you, every time the pace is cut to within 3 or 4, Knicks go on a run, and they look good. Carl Anthony Towns looking good tonight. Just put another one in. Now they're up. Knicks are now up by 9. Oof, that's
or 11.
11, actually. They just went by 11, so unbelievable. Knicks looking good, Big D. I don't know, that bet might cost you some money, but it's still early, and we know the Knicks are known to collapse in the third quarter.
I'm covered either way.
Yep.
Well, and then we got to go to the NHL. Another good game right now on the road. The Oilers looking to close it out in the American Airlines Center in downtown Dallas. Western Conference Final, Game 5. Oilers up 3-1 with 7 minutes to go in the first. So now Dallas has got to start putting the puck in the net, or they'll be putting the ball in the golf hole, because that's where they're going to be on the golf course as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. And just a couple of quick baseball scores. We got the Rays 1-0 over the Astros, bottom of the second. Blue Jays continue to be bombing the Athletics 11-0 there. Braves blanking the Phillies 6-0. And Capitals clarify email announcing Alex Ovechkin's final season was sent in error. The Capitals said the email mistakenly alluded to Ovechkin's final season. Paulina Dadaj of Fox News. The Washington Capitals went into damage control on Thursday after reports that an email to season ticket holders had been sent out informing them that the 2025-2026 NHL season would be the last for hockey great Alex Ovechkin. Ooh. Reports began circulating on social media Thursday afternoon that Ovechkin, who turns 40 in September, will be preparing for his final season in the league. According to a report from the HockeyWriters.com, an email was sent out Thursday that read, October, the start of Capitals hockey and Alex Ovechkin's final NHL season. Shortly after the report began spreading, the Capitals public relations team put out a statement clarifying that no decision regarding Ovechkin's future has been made and that the email was sent out in mistake. I mean, that's bad, man. Somebody's got to be fired for that one. No decision has been made on Ovechkin's future following the 2025-26 season, and an email was sent from an individual with the corporate sales department that mistakenly alluded to next year being Alex Ovechkin's final year. Questions about Ovechkin's future followed his career goal scoring record, which he set when he broke Wayne Gretzky's mark of 895 in April. Our very own Erin was in the arena that night. You barely score arena, and she had that clip for us, which we ran. That was a historic goal. But I tell you, that is bad. I mean, I can't believe that. You got a great like that, you're gonna maybe they're just trying to drum up sales.
Or maybe it is, and they just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, exactly.
I really don't know.
Oh, Vinny.
Yeah, thank you. Always thinking over here. That's why the stud thing's there.
I mean, think about it. Was that a separate, was it part of a larger email or text or whatever they put out, or was it just a separate blast that they put out? Hey, make sure you get your tickets. This is his last season. Because that's not something you just kind of haphazardly, right?
Right.
It's not It's not just what was I thinking?
Right, not like we're responding to a KDJ comment in the text. Right, exactly.
Right.
So,
you weren't supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Even though it's true.
That's pretty brutal.
Somebody has to say it for you to think it and be like, oh, let me put this in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good pickup there. Good pickup.
We've been talking about this young lady the last few nights. Indiana Fever suffers worst loss of the season in Caitlin Clark's first missed game of her career. Clark is dealing, obviously, with a quad injury. Ryan Morick of Fox News. One may argue that even though Caitlin Clark was off the court on Wednesday, it made a case that she is the most valuable player in the WNBA. That's because in the Indiana Fever's first game without Clark, since she suffered a quad injury, the Fever suffered their worst loss of the young WNBA season. The Washington Mystics took down the Clarkless Fever 83-77 on Wednesday night. And, wow, it's just amazing. So I think that's going to have its impact. But at least I don't have to worry about any racial controversies while she's out, right?
Please.
They can take a sabbatical on that nonsense, but we'll see. Anyway, Big D, that's a wrap in sports. Back to you. By the way, Knicks up 50-36, 3:35 to go in the second quarter.
No lead is safe.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. President Trump out tonight on Truth Social. The U.S. Court of International Trade incredibly ruled against the United States of America on desperately needed tariffs. But fortunately, the full 11-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit Court has just stayed the order by the Manhattan-based Court of International Trade. Where do these initial 3 judges come from? How is it possible for them to have potentially done such damage to the United States of America? It is purely a hatred of Trump, ? What other reason could it be? I was new to Washington, and it was suggested that I used the Federalist Society as a recommending source on judges. I did so openly and freely, but then realized that they were under the thumb of a real sleazebag named Leonard Leo, a bad person who in his own way probably hates America and obviously has his own separate ambitions. He openly brags how he controls judges and even justices on the United States Supreme Court. I hope that is not so, and I don't believe it is. In any event, Leo left the Federalist Society to do his own quote-unquote thing. I am so disappointed in the Federalist Society because of the bad advice they gave me on numerous judicial nominations. This is something that cannot be forgotten. With all that being said, I am very proud of many of our picks, but very disappointed in others. They always must do what's right for the country. In this case, it is only because of my successful use of tariffs that many trillions of dollars have already begun pouring into the USA from other countries, money that without these tariffs, we would not be able to get. It is the difference between having a rich, prosperous, and successful United States of America and quite the opposite. The ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade is so wrong and so political. Hopefully, the Supreme Court will reverse this horrible country-threatening decision quickly and decisively. Backroom hustlers must not be allowed to destroy our nation. The horrific decision stated that I would have to get the approval of Congress for these tariffs. In other words, hundreds of politicians would sit around D.C. for weeks and even months trying to come to a conclusion as to what to charge other countries that are treating us unfairly. If allowed to stand, this would completely destroy presidential power. The presidency would never be the same. This decision is being hailed all over the world by every country other than the United States of America. Radical left judges, together with some very bad people, are destroying America. Under this decision, trillions of dollars would be lost by our country, money that will make America great again. It would be the harshest financial ruling ever leveled on us as a sovereign nation. The President of the United States must be allowed to protect America against those that are doing it economic and financial harm. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And by the way, all of that is totally good. He doesn't even talk about the fact that he's using these tariffs also against our enemies as to protect the actual physical health of the United States citizens in the fentanyl crisis. So he's not only using it just for the financial reasons, he's using it as a hammer, as a weapon, as a way to try to change behavior. How can that not be in the interest of the chief executive of the country in protecting the actual physical health of the citizens?
It's not about tariffs.
To wrap on hour one, we'll discuss more in hour two. We're back right after this.
What did he die of?
Holy cow, I just saw it now.
Yeah, just I was going to try and slip it in if I had time there.
Oh, good thing you didn't. He probably would have went, holy
private battle with illness.
They don't tell you. Today they don't tell you anything.
Holy
That's their own
Christmas.
choice. I don't blame.
I had no idea. Did you know he was sick?
I thought he didn't look good. But that's, as people get older and they start to lose some weight, and it could have been just that he lost weight, but he didn't look good.
Was it cancer?
I don't know.
They
They're not saying.
Yeah. Yeah, very sad. Bernie was cool.
Holy cow, this video is real?
What video?
How'd you like to be fishing on this boat?
I don't know if that's real. Maybe. Those kind of look real, but I don't know. There's so many ways to make those things.
Holy Moses.
It's a shark attack. Look at those teeth. Oh, my goodness.
It says Memorial Day boaters had a close call with a great white shark right outside California. Wow.
Yeah, that you talk about hazing. Now that's hazing.
Talk about masturbation. I dare you.
That's the real deal.
Talk about a shark skin. Oof.
Sink its teeth into that one.
Man.
Oh, I can't believe Bernie Carrick died.
You got a report on that?
Yep.
You have any footage?
Yeah, Vin, you want to go over and see if you can help him out?
You go.
Apparently he did.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that went the other way.
Dr. Jack. Oh, man.
President Trump's having a press conference tomorrow with Elon Musk in the Oval Office.
Oh, I guess they're going to clear the air.
Elon just speaks the truth, man. So I take that guy at a high level of credibility, even if has some criticisms.
Well, he's
a business guy. He's not used to stuff working like in this damn government.
I think he's frustrated like anybody that deals with government. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's a very frustrating process.
Hour 2, live from Studio 6B.
We're going to research Linda now.
Here we go. On a Thursday night, Linda Welsh on Facebook says what now, Delgado?
Has Damon ever researched anything?
Well, no. I mean, in reference to what, though,
She's
specifically?
because
I didn't know Bernie Carrick was sick?
No. It had to do with something from last night, it looks like.
Well, what specifically was it?
It had to do with my mentioning of Gassara and Nassara.
I mean, it sounds like I should go to the doctor for that. Well, I don't know. What are you talking about?
She says you should check out the documentary, The Fall of the Cabal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I have a life, so I can't do that right now. I mean, what are we talking about?
Research is very time-consuming.
He's got no time for it. He's busy during the day working.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think I'm doing?
He's editing. He's an editor.
We're just proving Charlie's point. No research? What are we doing?
He's got
Hour 2, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday. God. Thursday, May 29th. Glad you're in. Real America's Voice, all on your TVs, and of course 103.9 LI News Radio, all across Long Island on your radio. Glad you're all in wherever you're watching or listening. Slick's going to do some sports. Rick Delgado's got some news. Vinnie Mac has some more news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. One of you made the point in hour 1. I think it was you, Vin, that Trump on this judge thing just needs to just ignore him. And, of course, people on the left who are, of course, when they're in power, will not only ignore judges, they will ignore the law, they will ignore anything they can while they try to burn the place down on their way through, whether it's torching the Constitution, burning it. Of course, when it fits their narrative, they try to wrap themselves in it, but we all know that. But there's this article today, when presidents are right and courts are wrong, Defying the Bench to Save the Nation by David Manny over at our friends and Kevin Downey Jr.'s place over at PJ Media. And in this article gets to exactly your point in that before everybody freaks out and says, oh, no, he's a dictator, he's this, he's that, he's not going to listen. Well, he says when presidents defy a court, the media and the left pull the fire alarm right away. Legal experts go on all their TV panels with words like unconstitutional and dictator and authoritarian. The phrase constitutional crisis gets tossed around like glitter at a political parade, he says. But what most people forget is that history doesn't always side with the judiciary. Some of America's greatest presidents defied court rulings, and history later confirmed that those examples of defiance were not only justified, but necessary. They didn't do it to seek power. They did it to protect the country when others froze. That's not a crisis. That's leadership. Now that 2 federal courts have blocked Trump's new economic tariffs, it's worth revisiting the long American tradition of presidents ignoring the gavel when national security, survival, or our sovereignty are on the line. In every example that I give, The court ruled against the president, and the president was right. And I'm not going to go through, obviously, each one, but I'll just tell you the headlines of what he brings up. Lincoln in habeas corpus, breaking the law to save the Union in 1861. As the nation buckled under secession, President Lincoln suspended the writ of habeas corpus. That gave Union generals the authority to arrest Confederate sympathizers without a judge reviewing the case. This was no hypothetical fear. Pro-Southern saboteurs in Maryland had torn up railroad tracks and destroyed bridges, threatening troop movements near D.C. Chief Justice Roger Taney, who, by the way, I believe our friend Josh Hammer actually referenced in his piece in his interview with Steve Bannon. Chief Justice Taney, still clinging to the robes of his infamous Dred Scott legacy, ruled that Lincoln had no such authority. Lincoln ignored him. He asked the public a simple question. Should all the laws be enforced while the nation falls, or should we preserve the nation first so that the statutes can matter later? Which, by the way, I think is a question that absolutely applies right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely does.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely does. And these judges and any of these other people, they don't care about tariffs. They don't care about 40 years of our country being ripped off through these tariffs and having a material effect on our sovereignty. They just care about defying Trump. These judges don't care about all these issues. There's not one issue that they actually care about. They just care about defying Trump. And Lincoln is interesting that you brought him up, because Lincoln and maybe Kennedy, but mostly Lincoln, I don't think there's been a president that's been this hated, this disliked by so many factions within the government, including the judicial system, but mostly them, than Trump is now. He's facing the wrath of a hysterical left in every which way, but it's just all about hating Trump. Not one thing is about the benefit of this country.
And it's not only the hysterical left, Vin. It's the hysterical bureaucrats.
It's the bureaucrats,
right? Because
for sure.
They know that this could be a watershed moment for them, where all of a sudden they're going to lose their power, their influence, everything that they've worked so hard for to steal could be taken from them.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't like the sound of that. They don't like the fact that, what do you mean I'm going to be relegated to possibly being unemployed because I'm useless? What do you mean? I'm important.
Yeah,
I've got a very expensive house that I made sure I bought, and I live a very good life, and I want to make sure I continue living that life. I don't care what it costs the American people. They want what they want now, and unfortunately, it's because nothing has been done about it. Nothing has been addressed. Nobody's said, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Maybe we shouldn't give these people all this money. You know, it used to be, and I remember this growing up, they're like, well, if you want to make money, go work for yourself or go work out in the real world. If you just want something lower paying, but you want it, you want a very stable, and you'll get a pension, and you won't make a lot of money working for the government, but at least you'll have that, that foundation there, and nothing will ever happen to you. Well, things have been flipped because the people in the government all of a sudden decided, hey, we're going to keep paying ourselves more and more. Now they're outpacing what you can make out in the real world. Yep. Which was never the intention. It was always about serving first, and having that lower salary, but also it made it possible for you to look forward to a pension because, well, you were kind of taking it in the end, taking it up front to get it on the back end.
Yeah, look what Doge uncovered.
Right.
I mean, those NGOs sending money internationally, then money coming back through the back door through these NGOs. That people are making millions on. It's a great process, frankly, from a devious standpoint.
Right.
And who's going to want to unwind that? So they decide, let's just make Elon Musk the enemy of the people and start burning down his business. But your point to the power side of this is 100% true. We have lost focus for some reason, our government, our judges, our politicians, on the people of this country. What they're focused on is their little, and it's fiefdoms. And it's always been like that to some extent, but not like this. This is the most extreme example I think we've ever seen of the selfishness that's happened within Washington. And they don't really care about us.
No.
They'll just use us to get the votes and then move on to whatever they're doing and line their pockets.
Yeah, and it really just took off over the last, say, probably decade and a half, 2 decades.
Oh, it's gotten brutal. Well, I kind of look at I mean, it was before Obama, but I kind of think things got accelerated with the Clintons and Obama. Yeah. And then the Bidens just took that and just said, let's just get on the merry-go-round here and just do as much as we can, too.
And don't let the Bushes off the hook.
Don't let the Bushes off the hook, yeah.
Patriot Act, never-ending wars. Let's topple 7 countries in the Middle East.
Yep, Dick Cheney.
And let's make gobs of money with the war machine.
Yeah.
Just a couple other examples, because I think they're important to remember when presidents defied the courts. FDR and the gold clause cases. When Roosevelt came into office, the country was sliding off a fiscal cliff. Unemployment had reached biblical proportions. Banks were failing. People hoarded gold. Deflation made debt impossible to repay. FDR made a radical move. He took America off the gold standard. He voided all the gold clauses that were in contracts, which guaranteed payments in gold instead of paper dollars. The move enraged investors on Wall Street, who saw it as a direct violation of property rights. The Supreme Court acknowledged that Roosevelt's move was unconstitutional. Roosevelt stared down the court and dared them to stop him. The gamble worked. Inflation began to rise. Banks stabilized, and Americans could breathe again. Critics accused him of shredding the Constitution, but when the dust settled, it turned out FDR saved the system that made the Constitution possible in the first place. Example number 3 was Truman and the steel seizure. No court can build a tank. Truman, unwilling to let production halt, ordered the federal seizure of America's steel mills. Truman lost legally, but he complied with the ruling and found other ways to keep steel flowing. The military stayed supplied, and the war effort never stalled. Thomas Jefferson in the judiciary, midnight appointments and morning resolve. George Washington in neutrality, saving a nation with silence. And now President Trump proposes tariffs to protect American industries and economic sovereignty. 2 courts block it. They don't dispute the wisdom of the policy. They don't argue it's bad for the country. They just say he used the wrong procedural hook. Suddenly the media cries constitutional crisis. But we've been here before. A true constitutional crisis doesn't come from bold executive action. It comes when no branch has the will to act, or when judges try to micromanage national survival from the comfort of their bench. Presidents are elected to lead, not wait for permission slips from them. Lincoln didn't wait. Roosevelt didn't wait. Washington didn't ask Congress to run foreign policy. Jefferson stood against the arrogant court. Truman gambled to keep the war machine moving. History didn't punish them. History honored them. Trump should do the same. Let the courts write the opinions and let the president make history. And I think that's to your point. It's getting to the point where he just needs to do what he needs to do.
Well, the other side of all of this stuff, and unfortunately for me, frankly, this is what I hear from all my liberal friends, and that is it's just about narrative. It's not about the facts. It's not about the actual harm or good it does for the country. This is all about narrative. It's all about finding a narrative to just take down Trump. It seems to be the way everybody's operating. Totally. And if your entire infrastructure is going to manage on narrative, think about that for a second. It's all about sound bites and talking points. Everything.
Don't talk about Charlie like that.
And this is Charlie. what I hear. Like, I have one particular friend that canceled me. He was very well read, reads history books, loves Lincoln, is a lawyer, and he's telling me he's a lawyer. I know he's a lawyer, but I keep being reminded, of course, that he's a lawyer. And he keeps telling me, if the judges say this and that, and Trump defies them, and that's a constitutional crisis. That's becoming a dictator and all this kind of stuff. And I look at this and I'm like, well, what are you listening to? These are just narratives of a fictional series of events, because that's how they're just combating the system. There's no substance.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. We'll get an update on sports. We'll do some more news with Delgado and with Vinnie Mac. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're a part of the show on a Thursday. We're back right after this.
Don't you put Charlie in a corner.
Super chat, Les Storm in the YouTube gave us $5. He was asking if I had shark skin boots, and I no longer do. I did at one time, yes, many years ago. I got them in Acapulco. And Ankh gifted 5 memberships, so that was nice. Thank you, Ankh, in the you'd be the YouTube chat there.
Give one to Charlie when you get a chance.
Charlie, he's going to love one.
You know, Charlie, I got you, boo.
We got Doug and Charlie. These are the two that have come after me the last week.
Doug?
And Doug and Charlie.
Doug.
Yeah. Doug's a lawyer, well-read.
Emu, Limu, and Doug.
Yeah.
Doug the lawyer.
Doug the lawyer.
And what does Charlie do?
And he's a historian. You know Doug. You do know Doug.
Yeah.
What about Charlie? What does Charlie do?
Charlie's a very successful entrepreneur. Very successful entrepreneur.
Did I tell you Paul Nolan?
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
I don't know.
Some dumbbell.
He met someone at a gym that knows me, which is interesting.
Fred. Since we're just going with first names.
I'm going to have to peel that back. Male or female?
Oh.
Charlie and Doug. Doug and Charlie.
Oh, really? Oh. Really? Okay.
And hate you.
Yeah.
Because you're a liberal.
Well, I was like the most popular guy. I mean, I got my friends turning on me, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to see one of my buddies in California that wrote me off next week. Yeah, I have to be in LA for
now, does he know you're going to see him, or are you just going to?
Yeah, we set up a little. Let's break bread and not let this divide the friendship.
You got to videotape it.
What's his name?
He's one of the top agents in all of Hollywood. He's a big deal.
What's his name?
Really?
He can't be seen with me because I'm on social media. I'm all over, so he'll literally get fired.
What's his first name?
Are you kidding me?
First name's Scott.
Scott.
But
Scott, Doug, and Charlie.
Scott, Doug, and Charlie. Yeah, man, I got hit from all angles. You know, my college buddies, my high school buddies, and it's all a similar narrative. It's either dictator, and all that narrative, or hate.
Just pure hate.
Well, it's really only a small contingent of the groups I associate with. Like the group here in New York, there's 7 of us, but 2 have gone off the deep end. The other ones watch this show almost every night. And I tell them that. I'm like, why are you giving me a hard time? All these people are watching the show. They love the show. They love everybody on the show. They believe everything we're saying.
Give us some first names. If they love the show, then
Greg loves the show, and Bill loves the show, and
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Sound like the blues. Let me talk to you about our friends over at Birch Gold. This July, there's a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of your dollars that are in your savings. While this transition won't happen overnight, the Rio Reset in July marks a pivotal moment when BRICS objectives moves decisively from theoretical possibility towards inevitable reality. Learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. You can claim your free information kit on gold by texting the word America right now to 989898. Text America to 989898. Birch Gold has an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Thousands of satisfied customers. Birch Gold can arm you with their free, no-obligation information kit. You see it right there on your screen. The Birch Gold Info Kit on owning gold before July and before the Rio Reset. Find out if gold is right for you. Text America to 989898 and do it today. What do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. Text America to 989898. See if gold is right for you. All right, 18 past the hour. Let's get an update on what's going on in the Garden. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, we're at the half, just about ready to get started. The third quarter in the Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks with a 56-45 lead right now, looking to stave off elimination in a Game 5 must-win scenario. And what do you know? The questionable game-time decision, Karl Anthony Towns comes out and drops 17 to lead all scorers in the first half. It's such a story, right? It's like the old Willis Reed days. Comes out of nowhere, wasn't going to play, comes hobbling onto the court. The rest is history. And the Knicks went on to win that particular championship. That was the 1970 championship.
I didn't even know that he was not going to play. What's wrong with him?
He was questionable.
He got injured in the last game.
I think it was it a quad or something like that? A lower,
took a shot to the knee.
Yeah.
I don't research much, so I didn't know.
Well, you don't. No, you didn't watch that. So sure enough,
you just bet on Indiana.
He's out there, and Pacers. I think the Pacers were a little lame on the shooting, but I think they're gonna come back now. It's probably. I don't know if the Knicks have the. I'm not sure if they're gonna have the stamina to keep up with this game in the second half, but we'll see. You know, like Vin said earlier, no lead is safe in the NBA, and Vin, that's very true. Right now, an 11-point lead is not exactly a lock. However, the Knicks could not be in a better position, and they are again trying to move on to the NHL. We go. The Oilers still holding a 2-goal lead over the Stars now, 3-1. That's at the American Airlines Center. Another elimination game for the home team now. Here we got the Stars in a must-win situation, trailing Edmonton 3-1. That series may be over anyway, but Dallas would certainly like to extend it, as their fans would. But there's 17:58 to go in the second. So, again, plenty of time there as well. Hockey, I always called it when I played the dreaded 2-goal lead. When your team was up by 2 goals, I can't tell you how many times you would let a team come back, tie it, bring it into overtime, and then, well, it's a coin toss at that point. So, but we'll certainly keep you up to date on the scores there. And, well, let's see. Rob Manfred was out talking about the Pete Rose reinstatement earlier today. Manfred says reinstating Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson was overdue. This is Dan Vanetta Jr. of ESPN. Commissioner Rob Manfred on Thursday defended his recent decision to reinstate Pete Rose, shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased band players as baseball living up to the deal they originally made with Pete Rose, which is true. While acknowledging his decision was overdue, Manfred offered his most fulsome explanation for his May 13th decision to remove Rose, Jackson, and other deceased players from MLB's permanently ineligible list. That decision has paved the way for Rose and Jackson to be considered for induction into baseball's Hall of Fame. I would say 3 things, Manfred said during an interview on CBS Mornings. Number 1, our permanently ineligible list is effectively a ban on working in the game. This is a matter of logic. There's no reason to have a person who has passed away still on that list. And that's true. Number 2, Pete Rose is part of history of our game. Every other player, including Joe Jackson, has been considered by the Hall of Fame, and they've made a decision. I saw no reason to leave Pete Rose out there as one of no consideration. Manfred discussed the particulars of Rose's punishment that all-time hit king accepted in a statement with then Commissioner A. Bartlett Giamatti back in August of 1989. However, I think they're going to get Rose reconsidered. Although Mike Mad Dog, Mad Dog was going crazy today because he can't believe that they're thinking that Rose may have a difficult time actually getting into the Hall. It's 12 voters, and he needs a 2/3 vote. And a lot of people are saying they don't know if they're going to get the 2/3 vote. I can't believe that.
It's a tough vote to get.
Yep.
With that committee.
Yeah. Well, you got the all-time leading hit leader of all. I mean, one of the most famous ball players of absolutely all time. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Reds fan, and I am saying it because I'm a Reds fan.
I thought you were saying it because you were a Reds
Rose fan. Is a fantastic was a fantastic ball player.
He's getting in for his ball playing. Yeah. Maybe his managerial stuff, and that's what happened while he was a player manager.
His championships. He won an MVP. He won a Rookie of the Year. What the hell else you want the guy to do? I mean, he was a phenomenal player.
I'm totally for him getting in.
Yeah, I hope he does. I really do. I'm actually planning a trip to Cooperstown, winning if he gets in. So we'll see. That's going to be that's like 2 years down the road. And Big D, that's a wrap in sports. Back to you. Knicks with a 61-48 lead, continuing to hold down steady with 10 to go in the third in the Garden.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Let's do some headline news with Rick Delgado. That's brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. What's going on, Delgado?
All right. Well, Tom Homan was out today once again and pledging to intensify ICE's efforts against criminal migrants. He also criticized sanctuary cities, of course, because of what they're trying to do. His bold stance on immigration is what we're talking about. The borders are Tom Homan. He appeared on another network talking about such things, but he also emphasized the administration's efforts that will center on what he calls flooding the zone a tactic aimed at intensifying ICE operations across the nation, particularly in areas known as the dreaded Sanctuary City. Here he is from the press gaggle earlier today talking just about this particular part, Sanctuary Cities, and how the game has changed, and he's throwing it right on them as well. Cut number 10, Tom Homan, check this out, cut 10.
There is no sanctuary for illegal aliens in this country. You can call it a sanctuary jurisdiction all you want. It's a bunch of crap, and we all know it. Sanctuary jurisdiction says, well, we want to protect the immigrant community. We want them, the victims and witnesses of a crime, to be able to come to the police, report a crime without fear that we're working with ICE. That is a bunch of garbage, because victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy in their neighborhood either. They want us in the jail arresting that bad guy. That'd be made much easier, much more efficient. But because they're forcing it in the neighborhoods, more non-criminal targets are being arrested, because ICE agents are not going to walk away from illegal aliens. You force us to go find the bad guy. Many times we're with others. At a work site, go look for the bad guy. There's 10 more illegal aliens there. They're coming too. So I don't want to hear sanctuary cities complaining, well, look at all these collateral arrests and non-criminal targets are arrested. You forced me in that position? So we're going to force law. Unlike the last administration, Secretary Mayorkas told ICE, you can't enforce immigration law. If they're not convicted of a serious crime, you can't arrest them for just being here illegally. That sent a message to the entire world. You can enter this country illegally, which is a crime, but as long as you don't get convicted of a serious crime, you're free. No one's looking for you. Game's changed.
Yeah. Game has changed. Holman made it clear that ICE operations will target every sanctuary city, signaling a no-tolerance approach. He also added he ought to be thanking ICE for arresting the criminal aliens they arrested, and he was making a reference to a Tennessee mayor, their apparent resistance to federal law enforcement actions. And again, it's the primary goal of the border czar Tom Homan to intensify its operations and remove the public safety threats from the American city streets. So,
Rick, this is another example of narrative.
Yeah.
They talk about immigrants, which we all come from immigrants, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we welcome immigrants. We're not talking about immigrants.
No, we're talking about the illegal immigrants.
We're talking about illegal people coming in this country. That's the narrative, though.
26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. More news with Delgado, and Vinnie Mac will have some more thoughts coming up. Slick will wrap it up with sports on a Thursday night right after this.
Couldn't have anybody stronger than Tom Homan in that position either. You know, I don't remember him though being this outspoken, in other presidencies, right? He worked for Obama, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they were deporting a lot of them.
Yeah, true. Deporting them and saying that they can, and no one resisted it, and all that regular stuff. But he is on a mission, this guy. I love him. It seems like they're all on a mission, everybody in the Trump cabinet there. They really seem like they're all on a mission here. Like they all got an axe to grind, which is, I think, the right way to be, because we do. They do. No research.
None?
Linda, he's still, griping about the research comment here. He's very hurt.
Very adamant.
He's very adamant that
his position on research. Which is why he's blacking out his photo there.
Yeah, look. See?
It's a blackout.
Yeah.
Chat, live in the chat. Let me jump over there. Let's see. Who's going on in the Rumble chat? What's going on in the Rumble chat? Yes. Charlie 3277. I am wearing my doll shirt. Match.
And he admits that.
I admit. It's Thursday night shirt night. Shut up, Vin.
Someone said mics are live right now. Mics are live?
They're live?
We sure? We're live?
Uh-oh.
Holman is a national treasure, according to Drake 99, and he couldn't be more correct.
And he's 100% right.
Hello to Pittsburgh.
This Friday, don't miss Trump's Golden Age rally in Pittsburgh.
We will make America strong again.
Witness the movement reshaping America. We're bringing you live, unfiltered coverage starting at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Make America great again. Thank you, Pittsburgh. God bless you.
Only on Real America's Voice.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on Real America's Voice on a Thursday night all across the country on your TVs, of course, on the radio, 103.9 LI News Radio. Glad you're all in on a Thursday. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado and Vin have news. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Please welcome back to the show one of our favorite guests. He is the Senior Vice President over at AMAC Action, and that, of course, is Andy Mangione. Andy, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Doing great, Damon. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you on. We appreciate you giving us a few moments every now and then. A lot of talk in the news, obviously, about President Trump's one beautiful big bill, and a lot of people love it. A lot of people have some problems with it. The president himself said there's some things he loves about it, some things he maybe not loves about it. AMAC members obviously are invested in a bill like this. I know you guys were very engaged all around the country. So just a couple things here. How did AMAC members mobilize to help get this bill passed?
Well, Damon, AMAC members responded to our call to action by sending over 14,400 messages to their members of Congress within 72 hours. Our campaign concluded on Wednesday of last week, and the bill passed the following Thursday. AMAC members were very engaged in this issue, and their advocacy played a role in getting this bill passed in the House.
So if you had to point to a couple things in the bill, I mean, obviously it covers a lot of ground, this bill. If you had to point to a couple things in particular that would be really important to AMAC members, what would they be?
Well, Damon, let's start with extending the Trump tax cuts. Many of our members are still working, and many own small businesses, and the extension of these tax cuts allows them to make investments to grow their businesses and boost the economy. The bill also gives Social Security beneficiaries additional tax deductions, giving them more money for their retirement. And the bill finishes President Trump's border wall and ramps up deportation efforts. And these are just a few of the bill's measures that are of distinct interest to AMAC members.
Let's talk about the PBM reforms. How would the PBM reforms affect AMAC members, and why is that important to them?
Well, there are huge transparency provisions in the bill for pharmacy benefit managers that work with the Medicare program. For example, the bill gives Medicare plan sponsors the power to audit PBMs annually with penalties for noncompliance. The bill also requires PBMs to support a report annually to HHS that importantly includes justifications for favorable drug formulary status of branded products over cheaper generic or biosimilar alternative drugs. Pricing games, fee structures, and bonuses that are tied to drug costs will all be under scrutiny, Damon, and all of these measures are aimed at reducing premiums and out-of-pocket expenses for Medicare beneficiaries.
Yeah. And I know you're not, obviously, you can't see into the future, but obviously the bill has passed the House. It goes over to the Senate. There's a lot of discussion from senators right now that they're not happy with the financial end of this, what it does to the deficit, the spending, the lack of serious cuts. You're obviously outlining some of the important stuff that's in there that maybe people don't think about. And obviously, as they hear the media and everybody just talking about the spending. But in your best guess here, what do you think happens with this bill next?
Well, it's going to be interesting when it goes to the Senate, what version of the bill we get once the Senate completes their deliberations. The president's already said that he's open to changes. We'd like to see deeper cuts, but we do know this, Damon. AMAC members will be watching and ready to mobilize again, this time to pressure the Senate to pass this important legislation. We got to get it over the finish line.
Andy Mangione from AMAC. He's your Senior Vice President of AMAC Action. Of course, amac.us/Studio 6B is where you can go. If you're not an AMAC member already, I don't know what you're waiting for. I think it's $16 for the entire year. Go to amac.us/Studio 6B right now, amac.us/Studio 6B. Andy, always a pleasure to have you on for a few moments. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Damon. My pleasure. All
right, Andy Mangione from AMAC there, amac.us/Studio 6B if you want to sign up and be an AMAC member. They're doing great work, as you can see. We love Andy. Great people. They're doing great stuff. They write great stories. By the way, you get a lot with that membership for $16. I mean, don't buy coffee at Starbucks for one day and you've got a year membership at AMAC. You've probably got some money left over. amac.us/Studio 6B. All right, let's do some more news with Vinnie Mac. Vinnie Mac is here. Vinnie, what's been on your mind?
One particular thing that I just want to mention before I talk about what's really on my mind, and that is Ava Moore. Ava Moore was an 18-year-old cadet killed by an illegal jet skiers.
Oh, I heard this. Yeah, I saw the video. This guy out in the water on the jet ski.
It's terrible from every angle. But for me, and the reason I wanted to bring up her name, and I think each time any of this happens, I do want to call out these people, because here's another life lost that didn't need to be. It shouldn't have happened. It's another life lost due to a selfish and lying left that allowed 15 million illegals, maybe 20. And I've heard 11, I've heard 15, I've heard 20. The number's too big no matter what it is. They allowed them into our country. And it's clear they allowed them in here for an intentional reason. This is not an accident. I said this many times, but I want to reiterate this, because when they let people in like this for an intentional reason, for political benefit, to change votes, and to do all the nefarious things they want, and then we lose the life of young people, old people, whomever, because these people are in our country, yeah, we got to call them out for what it is. It's their selfish act cost this young lady her life. End of story. So I wanted to call out and at least give her a shout out. And now we've been talking a little bit about some of my deranged friends who Charlie, who cancel me and do things, and they bring up the word hate a lot. And I want to address this. And I actually wore my peace shirt here. I didn't want to wear the full T-shirt because I can't compete with Delgado's guns. But I wore my peace shirt because
you couldn't compete with Betty White's guns, but go ahead.
Yeah. That was a Richard Nixon campaign shirt.
Anybody have an M&M? Yes. I never profess to have guns. But there's a big difference between hate and trust. So when we talk about things about the left, we don't hate people. We don't trust them. We don't believe them. And I want to go to a clip. I think, Aaron, you have this with... who's that? Stephen A. Smith, talking about this book that was written, but he also talks about a few other things, and it deals with trust. So give that a run for a second. We'll talk about it.
And I'm going to tell you what should scare us as American citizens. Who are we to believe? Because I don't know if y'all heard about that book that's come out. Okay, Original Sin, Jake Tapper from CNN and Alex Thompson. And it's Original Sin, and it's basically highlighting and detailing Biden's deterioration, for lack of a better word. We saw it. We spoke on it. I was vilified for it. A year before the debate, last June 27th, when Biden went on stage against Donald Trump, I called it out. A year before that, as in 2 years ago, he's not going to get to the Democratic National Convention. He does not need to be the Democratic nominee. And I was excoriated. I was right through the coals. Who the hell are you? What do you know? You're novice? Shut the hell up. Stick to sports. All of this stuff. I had 2 eyes. I could see.
You know, what he said is so impactful to this point, because anybody who has liberal friends, and I'm sure we still do, have liberal friends and family members and so on, they look at us as if, we really hate these people. We don't. What Stephen A. Smith basically pointed out, and these are the best examples I've seen in a long time, but there are plenty of them, is we just don't trust them. There's a big difference between that. Now, what we see on the other side of this, what we see on MSNBC with Rachel Madcow and any of the other pontificators on CNN, and even when people from the left talk, is hatred. They don't have a rational reason to talk about Trump in the way they do. They just dislike and hate him to that level because he's in their way. And I think it's important to understand the difference here. When you don't trust the politicians and you don't trust the media and you don't trust all these people, and then you find out everything that you didn't trust is true. You were right. We were right about all of these things. And in this whole Biden book, and then the auto pen thing and all that, it's the big story, but the examples are all over the place that we've all called out. Sure, going back to Russiagate and going back to all the other nonsense that we see with Comey. Now they find a room full of stuff, paperwork that we know is going to unfold more things because we suspected things. So it's all about, or at least from my point of view, and I think the other guys too, it's more about trust. And that trust leads to not liking and not listening to anybody on the left. And I, for one, face this firing squad from some of these liberal leftists that I have in my little inner circle who feel, what's wrong with you? How come you hate them so much? And I tell them I don't hate anybody. I can honestly say throughout my life, I'm the biggest pushover you've ever met in your life. I don't really hate anybody. But if I don't trust you, okay, that's a big problem. What are you saying?
I'm not saying
I don't hate you.
I would never.
Nobody hates Damon. What are you kidding?
When you said your friend said, "What's wrong with you?" I was just thinking, I don't know. I've been asking that for 10 years, but I didn't say it. I was just thinking it.
I'm the biggest pushover there is out there because I just want everybody to get along. I'm a peacemaker.
That's a good way to be.
I'm a peacemaker. I've always been. And so when I get these questions to me, I make a note of that place. And I'm a stud. Where is the stud? But to me, it's all about trust and character. So that's what's bugging me today, and mostly because I just faced it.
Yeah.
I just faced a wrath of this.
I don't know if I trust you on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And one last thing. Let's all just give a major call out here to Elon Musk. The guy wrapped his whole program up today. He's
doing a press conference with President Trump tomorrow in the Oval Office. I believe the president said 1:30.
And that's must-see TV, frankly, because this is probably one of the most straightforward people you're ever going to meet in your life. Everything he says, you can see the sincerity and the honesty that comes through it. And I can imagine, outside of the nonsense that happened to him with all that backlash, how crazy it must have been for him to not be able to effectuate change as an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Well, I was going to ask you that. How do you think he feels leaving tomorrow?
I think he's relieved to leave, but I think he's unfulfilled to leave as well. Like, I think in his mind, he might not have succeeded because at every turn, he had an obstacle. And then he's got to deal with what Trump has to deal with, which is where some of this friction may come from, which is he's got to placate all these senators and congressmen and deal with the political side of this, which is just a horror show. And you have to make concessions sometimes to deal with that. And that's not something he's used to. He's used to dealing with the board. And if the board doesn't agree, he'll just leave. He did that with PayPal. He didn't agree with the board. He left.
Yeah, he's used to being the boss, and what the boss says goes.
And the boss is right.
I want to clear out Twitter's staff by 75% because I think it can run better or just the same with less people and save money. That's basically what he did to the government. But you got everybody on the government going, well, we don't really like that because, it's not nice. And it's like, what's the phrase? F your feelings. I don't care, right?
Yeah,
that's
100%.
basically that's the angle he comes from in all this. Feelings don't matter. The bottom line is the bottom line.
He's just a great American.
The Stone Cold said so. All right, 17 till the hour. We'll wrap it up on a Thursday when we get back right after this.
Chat. Live in the chat. Gary, yes, thank you. I think we're offline here, Dave. Nothing on my computer seems to be working. Harry.
It got a little weird. Harry walked in.
Oh, I see.
Did you not pay the internet bill?
I see us.
This is a Harry Oates production.
Yeah, the internet. I got nothing on my phone and my, what? Is it coming back? Oh, looks like it's reloading.
It's that World Wide Web stuff.
There it is. It's back.
All right. Yeah,
it's 10-point lead is
they
nothing.
They needed to cut it to single digits before the end of the third, and if they do that, then they're in the game. Brunson's got one, Nato. Yeah.
That is a great shot.
He makes some great shots on the angle, that kid.
Oh, I think I'm hungry. Do we have any food?
Oh, yeah, there's pizza in the fridge from last week. Why don't you have that? Have it cold.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't like cold pizza.
What?
I don't either.
Never been a fan of cold pizza.
No,
Some people can,
as far as
eat it in the morning and crap.
Yeah, heat the pizza up, Rick. It's probably got mold on it.
25. Well,
Matt Miller didn't come in with his list yet.
I can't.
It's free, right, tomorrow night?
Yeah. I need to. I need to get with you and then with Doug and then hopefully with Jesse and go from there to start putting some people in.
If you like tonight, that's great.
Yeah, I mean,
no, we haven't done.
Well, we literally just found out tonight that.
He changed it.
Well, he had nobody on the list. What?
Got to get it together. Really got to. You got to get it together.
Someone
It's
needs to be
the other. This is the Knicks night. Knicks winning this game. This game's over. It's over.
They'll make a run.
This game is over. No, they only scored. They're finished in the end.
All right, 13 to the hour on a Thursday night. Real America's Voice all across the country on your TV. 103.9 LI News Radio on your radio, of course. Glad you're all in. Slick's going to do some more sports. Delgado's going to do some more news to wrap it up. We'll start with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use. Shop at MyPillow for Father's Day. Any shopping that you do at MyPillow in June, make sure you send us your receipt. You can pick something absolutely free from our store, live from Studio6B.com, as a bonus for shopping at MyPillow and using our code, which we appreciate. Slick's got sports. MyPillow sponsors it. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, one last sweep of the scoreboard tonight. We're going to go back to the Garden in New York. Game 5.
You're calling the game over.
Game is over. Knicks have an appointment, 8 p.m. in Indiana, Saturday night. Game 6.
You really are
Book
terrible.
it. This game is over. 81 to 64. Knicks lead. Brunson's on fire. 2:55 to go in the third. Yes, there is enough time. Yes, the Knicks did have about a 20-point collapse. I think game 1 or 2 there.
Don't say that.
We'll see what happens, but I don't see it here. Knicks just look too strong. They look strong right out of the gate. So book it. Knicks are going to be having a game 6. And Big D, here we go. Oilers continue to lead the Stars by 2.
Please let me make crazy town for tomorrow. Please let me make a crazy town for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. It'd be first of all, you wouldn't make it anyway. So Oilers 4-2 over the Stars. 2:21 to go.
That's a good one.
You're busy during the day now. 2:21 to go in the second. What do you have, a job in a barbershop or something? Anyway, we got the West Final, and I think, Edmonton may be closing this one out as well, much to the grin of KDJ because he can't stand the Oilers, and I think that one might be over. Let's get to the baseball scores, too, gentlemen. We got the Braves bombing the Phillies 9-2, bottom 9. Looks like that one's over as well. Rays over the Astros 3-1, bottom 5. Mid-first, no score, Nationals and Mariners. And earlier tonight, the Phillies over the Braves 5-4. Blue Jays literally annihilate the Athletics 12-0. Get to one quick story. Well, there's always talk about flag football in the Olympics, right? Patrick Mahomes reveals expectation on whether he'll compete in 2028 Olympics flag football for Team USA. I tell you, that's going to be a huge story in 2028. As far as the flag football for the men, Chiefs and women. Chiefs star questions if he fits the role with flag football, debuting in the 2028 Summer Games in L.A. Jackson Thompson of Fox News. Patrick Mahomes addressed the possibility of him playing in the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics for Team USA's flag football. The Kansas City Chiefs superstar has been speculated to be a potential option to lead the U.S. in the first ever Olympic football competition, flag football competition. However, Mahomes appeared uninterested in the role when asked about it by reporters on Thursday. I'll probably leave that to the younger guys. I'll be a little older by the time that comes around, Mahomes said. In the summer of 2028, when the games will take place, Mahomes will be 32 years old and just weeks away from turning 33 that September. Mahomes previously suggested he wanted to play in the Olympics, but questioned whether he has the skills to do so, and also expressed concerns about his age back in August. So I don't think you're going to see Patrick Mahomes spending any time going for the gold in the flag football. I don't see that at all. But, we'll see what happens. That's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. 10 minutes to the hour. Let's do a little more headline news with Rick Delgado. Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, let's see. How much time do I have to jump into this?
Plenty of time.
More time than the Knicks don't.
Anyhow, we're talking about, of course, Joe Biden. More and more keeps coming out. Vin referencing the lie of the Jake Tapper book. Here is Jake Tapper once again admitting the cover-up, but then, of course, tries to play the victim one more time. Cut number one. Here's Jake Tapper.
But as a general admission,
Aaron,
I think that there are very few people.
Jake Tapper and that other guy. Who's the other guy with the bad hair that used to host the show on Sunday mornings or whatever?
I don't know.
Yeah, come on, you do know.
No, I don't.
Like he replaced Tim Russert. He was Tim Russert's replacement.
Oh, Chuck
Todd.
Chuck Todd, yeah.
Right.
He's out there, too, on this, all of a sudden he has an epiphany about everything.
Like, oh, my God, we were deceived.
We were deceived.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't want to hear about stupid Jake Tapper's book. It should sell 0 copies. I mean, I just don't care what he has to say. The guy's a total fraud, empty suit, lying propagandist. I don't want to hear anything about him, about anything. Nothing.
The only positive thing with his book, to the point you're making where you don't want to hear it, I have to say, I don't want to listen to it either, but there is a positive here, and that is it's brought to light on the left the conspiracy that we all knew that was happening. Yep. They're forced to talk about it because Jake's one of them.
So you want to see the clip?
It's not a matter of saying, it's not a matter of seeing the clip. It's really that Jake, by coming out, has put attention on something we knew was happening all along.
All right, Aaron, re-rack it.
You know what?
Re-rack it for Vin.
Regarding what Vin's saying, he really has legitimized the cover.
Yeah,
Aaron,
I think that.
All right, what else is going on in the news?
What else you got, Delgado?
Here is cut number 8. Here's Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on, again, talking about Joe Biden, the cover-up. But here she is taking aim at someone else who could be ultimately responsible for this as well. Here is cut 8. Check it out.
Certainly speak up about what she saw in regards to her husband and when she saw it and what she knew. Because I think anybody looking, again, at the videos and photo evidence of Joe Biden with your own eyes and a little bit of common sense can see this was a clear cover-up. And Jill Biden was certainly complicit in that cover-up. There's documentation, video evidence of her clearly shielding her husband away from the cameras. They were just on The View last week. She was saying everything is fine. She's still lying to the American people. She still thinks the American public are so stupid that they're going to believe her lies. And frankly, it's insulting, and she needs to answer.
Yeah.
Bingo for her. By the way.
Press Secretary Caroline.
Hey, did you hear Peter Ducey today?
Yeah.
You have that clip?
No, I don't.
Ducey says to her, if the judiciary is going to set the policy here in the country, maybe the president wishes he had just run to be a judge. And she gave a good answer, by the way, to that. But Peter Ducey, a little tongue in cheek, but gets to the point.
Yeah.
And then he says, of course, why does if they don't like the law, why doesn't the president go to Congress and you have the House and the Senate and pass new laws? But
that's not going to happen either.
Not quite good. Not going to work. Not that easy. Number one, and certainly not going to work with this Republican Party, with this majority. And if the judges don't like these laws, what stops them from not liking those laws? By the way,
So just look at how they handled Doge. I mean, with the House and not being able to really support what Doge is doing. Just look at that. That's the most obvious, like, guys, just pass something here,
All right, what else in the news, Delgado?
That's all I've got of the raging news from around the world, Damon. Charlie, thank you for watching.
By the way, how many times did the good doctor, use the auto pen? She's got to be in the middle of that scandal, too. She was running cabinet meetings, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
She is in there. So is Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is obvious.
That they weren't auto penning up whatever? Right?
It's obvious what happened there, man. It's just, it's obvious to all of us.
Yeah, it's obvious to all of us, like everything else has been.
Yeah.
But we'll see if anybody actually gets held to account.
Of course not.
All right, Vin, we only got about 60 seconds left. Anything else headline-wise?
Yeah, we talked about universities, Harvard, colleges, and all this type of stuff, and how Trump's trying to get control of them with the grants and everything, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think what's that?
I said last night it's patriotic. It's what he's doing.
It's patriotic what he is doing. We know how they are just hurting our country in so many different ways. And I think I mentioned to you this idea that my cousin Bob had. He originally had an idea to try and help, create money so we can pay for college. And I thought about it from a different angle, which is we take the endowments that the universities have, and it's, $500 billion in totality, and we tax the growth of that money. Why? Because the U.S. government's now involved in the universities. We make a capital gains tax to do that. We can then control them a little more than we have been able to, because they might just say, fine, don't give us the grants. I got $50 billion in the bank. Harvard can say that, and they're actually in some ways saying that to us.
Didn't we run the math on this?
The math doesn't solve the problem, but taxing it creates control.
Yeah,
that's all.
All right, as always, we salute our military, active and active, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Fran, great job as always. Most of all, thank you, the Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse, 8 p.m. Don't miss it. We'll see you there.